This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Because what we believe in becomes the currency of our lives. Whether it's a tangible coin or dollar bill or a blockchain wallet, it's still not as powerful as who you are and what you carry on the inside. That is unlocking the wealth within. That is commerce happening within.
Taking a minute to be myself, don't need no help. We keep on rising.
This is going to be an interesting episode, and I'm going to record it. The birds are outside. They're cheering for me, I feel like, because I keep hearing their chirp, chirp, chirp. So if you hear that in the recording, it's getting louder outside from these little birdies. And every morning I walk out and say hello to them because they have been a little bit like the canary in a coal mine for me. And they remind me to look up. They remind me to look at the sun. And this episode is going to be called A Remedy. How we unlock commerce within. The transmutation, you see, which is shifting forms of something of low frequency programming into something I call sovereign wealth. What if the most important ledger that you will ever balance is not your bank account? What if it's the one that you've been keeping most unconsciously about yourself, about what you're worth, about what you deserve, about what's possible for someone like you? The ledger, you see, opened before you could even read, and someone else was holding that pen. Welcome to Sacred Ledgers. This is the Unlocking Commerce and Business show, and I'm Connie Davis, the creator of a platform that captures stories. Today, we're going to talk about what I believe is a remedy. Maybe not the remedy, but a remedy. Something different. Something that I believe is needed in the world, and we don't even know that we need it. A few weeks ago, I sent you an invitation. I've been emailing. If you're on my email list, I have been talking about.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
About this and weaving it into every episode with guests who have come on this show. I talk about home as the first economy, the place where we first learned what things cost, what we were worth, what our parents thought they were worth, that our families were worth, and what they would stand up for, or what they buckled under as pressure. Sometimes it was a lessons of whether there was enough, whether we were enough, whether the chores that we did at home in that home economy were enough. Were they good enough? Did they meet expectations in order to earn allowance? And what was that allowance? What were we allowed to do with our money when our parents gave us and shared money with us as children? It wasn't just a conversation about childhood. That became your foundation, my foundation, everyone's foundation. Because what gets built sometimes on a cracked foundation, no matter how beautiful it looks from the outside, it's always at risk of collapse. Today, we talk about how to repair that foundation from the inside out. Because before most of us ever managed a budget, something we hear about in adulthood, or we hear about it from our parents talking about their budget, before we ever opened our first checking account or earned our first dollar, we were already engaged in commerce. Not financial commerce, something way more primal than that. The commerce that we do with ourselves. Every morning, standing in front of a mirror, we make a transaction as we brush our teeth, as we wash our face, as we get in the shower, and then we dry off in front of the mirror. We're assigning a value to what we see. And most of us didn't set that price. It was set for us by commercials, by toys. We absorbed all of that before we could critically think, by songs that told us what beauty sounds like, what cool was feeling like, what it looked like, by TV screens that showed us who gets chosen and who gets left behind. That body shaming story that's...
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at Accenture.com/Spotify.
So many of us carry, it didn't start with us. It was installed. That is not a metaphor, guys. That is a description of a system, a programming system, and it runs on very specific fuel. In the ancient Gnostic texts, some of the oldest wisdom literature that we have, there is a concept worth sitting with. It's the idea that structures in this world, we call them systems, we call them architecture, you can call them whatever you want. They cannot generate their own light, though. They do not create. They maintain. They hold. They're containers. And what they maintain runs on a very specific source of fuel. Your fear, your shame, your guilt, and your unworthiness. Not as experiences, but as energy, as transmissions. Every loop of fear that we get stuck in, every spiral of shame that our emotions surface, every wave of feelings like we're not enough or you're not enough. These are just bad feelings. They're just bad feelings. They are outputs, and the system is designed to collect them. So this is why the provocations never stop. It's not personal. It's operational. It's the system that needs your energy and your attention and your money to circulate through it and keep it running. See it for what it is. So the question is, what do you do with the energy that it provokes inside of you? Most of us try one of two things, and both of them fail. The first is indulgence, and I'm going to speak from experience here because there were periods in my life, in my marriage, in my early years, as I started making money as a young career woman and as a young married couple. We started scaling. We started feeling the abundance, right, that our efforts were paying off. And as we worked and we chased more money, more things, more household projects to create that image, to create that keeping up with the Joneses and living in the neighborhood and driving the car and going on the vacations.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at Accenture.com/Spotify.
There was a point where we started feeling the fear and the spiral. The shame sometimes, and sometimes we feel that shame in different levels, different economic classes, different economic environments, in different demographics, and we collapse as a society or as a household or a community. The emotion takes over. The frequency inside of us that's high vibrating goes to low vibration. And the system gets exactly what it provoked, a full meal, eating on what you're creating. The second path that doesn't work is suppression. We sense the fear and we push it down. That's what we're told to do, right? By our parents. Shake it off. Chin up, buttercup, right? Those are the things that we hear. We paste a positive affirmation over it. Good vibes only. I'm going to go meditate and I'm going to calm my state of emotional awareness for long enough to face the world and to step outside of my home. But suppression doesn't dissolve the energy, guys. It compresses it. It builds pressure inside of us who are the containers. And eventually it erupts. Bigger, louder, more disorienting than the original signal. Suppression doesn't starve the system. It stores the meal for later. Indulgence feeds it now. Suppression feeds it later. Neither one, though, stops it. But there is a third path. We're going to talk about that. My favorite verse in scripture, the one that's even tattooed on me. It was so important and profound when I discovered it. But my favorite verse has always been Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I didn't understand it when I first read it, but my spirit felt it. It knew that had significance for what my life would look like 12, 15 years later. And that later is coming to you right now in this episode. I used to read that as a call to willpower, to try harder, to choose better. And the older that I got, the more I understood it in my language, the language of technology. The mind has been programmed by viruses, thoughts that replicate and spread, distorting reality before we can even question what is really real and if we're safe, by parasites, patterns that feed on our energy without giving anything back. They take up space in our mind. There was an amazing man named Joe that taught me through his book that we have a landlord inside. And Joe, if you're out there listening, thank you for that lesson. You didn't even really get into a real depth interview, and we'll have you on the show one of these days to talk about how you discovered this on your own path. But I want to give you credit for that, because those parasites and those squatters and the environmental toxins, the systems and the structure and the cultural narratives that we were born inside without consent, those are all narratives that are carried inside. We don't even know that we're carrying them, that they've hitched their ride to us as we grow and we become adults. By relational toxins even, what was spoken over us, withheld from us, modeled for us by people who were supposed to show us what we were worth and to help us see and feel what safety feels like. The renewal of the mind is not a Sunday morning feeling. I have learned that. It is a detox. It is an antiviral, a full system restore. And the ancients had a word for the process. You know what they called it? They called it alchemy. Not turning lead into gold in a laboratory. The original meaning, the transmutation of dense, low-frequency energy into higher octave before the system can harvest it. And here's how it works in practice. And it comes into contact with us and our money and our households. Fear is attention locked on threat. It turns into awareness, attention expanding to the full picture. Shame, I'm fundamentally wrong. Humility, I am learning and evolving. Guilt, which is looping on the past, turns into discernment, extracting the lesson and redirecting us forward. Unworthiness gets alchemized into it's coming from a place of I don't deserve this, as an unworthy, to sovereignty. I decide what I'm worth. Anger, a powerful emotion. Fire burning everything in its path, destroying and destruction, leaving things behind, just burned. Bridges burned, relationships burned. Financial stability burned. Gets alchemized into clarity. The same fire with precision, with a target, with a goal, with a direction. Same energy alchemized into different directions. That is what alchemy is. And over time, something shifts. Not because the provocations stop. We can live in this big, noisy, angry, heavy world, divisive world, but because you become unprofitable, because something finally gets your attention. And one of the things that gets our attention the most is money, lack of it, lack of assets, loss of ability to move. That gets our attention. The system runs on return on investment. When it provokes and you get nothing back, when the energy is transmuted before it can be harvested, you become this losing proposition. We feel like a liability to society. No one wants to be there. We weren't designed to stay at the bottom. You don't fight the control layer. This is what I've learned. You don't flee from it. You can't escape it. We're on the planet. We're living in this community, in this world. We're living inside of the system. It gives us a bit of structure and a bit of order, but we also need to understand it. You see, we learn how to alchemize everything that it sends to us as an experience, positive or negative. It sends it to us until there is nothing left to gain. And that's why I built what I did. I talked about Rooted, my ebook, and sacredledgers.com. Attached to sacredledgers.com is why I built Our Living Current, a streaming radio station, a counter transmission, because the airwaves are already occupied. My voice is playing out over the airwaves right now. You're listening to it. What's playing on the radios through your cars and through your environments wakes you up, right? Gets your attention. My alarm literally just went off at the time of this episode being recorded. How coincidental is that? That's a definition of what's coming over the airwaves. It got my attention. What's playing on most of them, however, is not neutral. It's programming. It has always been programming. Our living current exists because every person deserves a frequency that isn't trying to harvest them. Please find it. Please share it. Let's run it in the background while you work, while you cook. I invite you to play it in your car while you drive. Let your nervous system learn a different normal, feel a different frequency. Every song is an alchemy of a story of pain and struggle. It's my gift to humanity. And Sacred Ledgers, this tool that I built, this platform, It exists for the same reason, because the remedy must have a place to land. Transmutation is not a spiritual event, guys. It's a practice. It requires you to write things down, to name what was installed, to see what's flying and buzzing around your invisible space that's taking up and squatting on your inside world. To name what was installed means to choose consciously and deliberately what you want to believe instead and install that. Live by that code. The sacred ledger is the place where you do that work. I help you. Where you rewrite the ledger that someone else opened in your name before you could speak. And you've been living by that ledger, following that balance sheet, carrying those assets, buried, unrealized assets, and liabilities. And the workbook that's sitting on Amazon right now, waiting for the person who needs it most, that's the companion. It's called Unlocking Your Inner Wealth, and it's a 90-day exploration deep inside of yourself, guided by me. That structured space becomes a place to move through the process with your hands, not just your mind. So we're going to be coming at it from music, from the airwaves and voices, and a workbook that's tangible in your hand. These are not just products that I've created. They are tools for the repair. I want to say something to anyone who has watched my journey and wondered, what the heck are you doing? I've been told that a lot. Connie, you're not focused. You're all over the place. Just do one thing. Just do one thing. Stay focused. I know it looked scattered. It was scattered there for a little while, but spirit kept leading me. And it's very rare when someone allows their spirit and God to guide them and to follow, to actually finish and walk the mission. Walk the mission. So it looked scattered, but now a radio station here, there's a workbook over there, a podcast right now, an ebook, and now a tool called Sacred Ledgers. It has become a framework that I'm going to be writing my next book about. And it is and has now become a speech 2 weeks ago that I called Home as the First Economy. It was an invitation. You see, I was never unfocused. I was being led by spirit. I was seeding my community, the voices that have found me, the tribe that supports me, that believes in the work that I'm doing, that sees the value. My spirit on a mission longer than I can fully explain, over probably about 16 years now. It was leaving breadcrumbs. It was leaving breadcrumbs from the future self to the person that I was. The person that I was before this podcast, before the workbook, for the person who would find the workbook before the ebook, for the person who would stumble onto Our Living Current at 2 a.m. because they saw one of my Facebook posts or my LinkedIn posts and couldn't sleep and didn't know why. Some of those people are finding me now and this work now because they're meant to by design. Every piece is a door. And every door leads to the same room, the room where you remember what you are worth. That is my mission. The architecture showed you the system. The game showed you the playbook. We've all been playing by it. The counterfeit spirit, though, showed you the weapon. And the remedy is what you do with all of it. I'm just giving you breadcrumbs. You don't give them your fear. You don't give them your guilt. You don't give them your shame. I want to invite you to take every ounce of energy that they provoke and turn it into something that they cannot use, that they cannot harvest, and cannot stop. Your own sovereign frequency. That is the alchemy that you will do on the inside as you harmonize your inner world and your mind. And that is how you're going to win a game that was designed for you to lose. You are so much more powerful than you know. I want to invite you to believe it. Because what we believe in becomes the currency of our lives. Whether it's a tangible coin or dollar bill or a blockchain wallet, it's still not as powerful as who you are and what you carry on the inside. That is unlocking the wealth within. That is commerce happening within you. I'm Connie Davis, the creator of Sacred Ledgers, and I'm going to leave you with oceans of love and God's kiss on every wave. Thank you for listening to Unlocking Commerce and Business. If this conversation resonated, here's what you can do. Subscribe for weekly conversations with survivors, innovators, and changemakers, building regenerative alternatives to extractive commerce. Share this episode with collaborators, partners, funders, and changemakers in your network. The people ready for restorative commerce need to hear these voices. Drop a comment below. Tell us what patterns you're recognizing or what solutions you're building. We read every one. Commerce is everywhere, and healing extraction patterns inside our communities creates regenerative commerce outside. Like a lighthouse, we're here, exploring and cutting through fog, pointing toward what works. Welcome to the era of restorative commerce. Until next time, explore courageously, build sovereignly. You are the source and store of value. This is Connie Davis, signing off. Thank you for being here.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Hello?
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.